Hey there, welcome back. So I played this game for a few hours since we last played, or you last got to see. Pretty much the whole world has been explored. It's interesting because like I have to scroll in order for it to reveal itself, and you can see we now know where everybody is or was. So here's some interesting things. This is where the United States was. It went. It actually isn't where the United States was. Remember, there was here we can see it here. The United States and Ghana both went belly up. So Ghana was right here, if you recall. They were right on our border, and Ghana also had cities up here. So that's who we've been doing, the excavation and archaeology stuff. The United States was more in the. You'll actually see American names somewhere here. Buffalo. So they were up here when they started. I would say that this is probably not the best start, although down here looks fine. Um, so here we are. We now have a city cap of 9. I'm a democracy now. I know, Russia being a democracy. Um, you can see Moscow is up to 19. Or I'm sorry, 23. New Moscow, 19. And then we got 24, our biggest city there. The cap is 30. So 30 is the highest you could go. Now, if I click on something like Moscow, um, it's showing that I'm making 130 surplus food, which is really good because this number, the moment that it grows, will instantly pop back to, you know, negative 200. And food is such a high demand item. And you can see I have a whole bunch of stuff here that I'm doing. Like this gives them 50 food. So, one of the first things I wanted to highlight for you, other than just show you where we're at with the game, is we're going to go over which resources matter and which ones don't. And it's not to say that any resource does not matter, but some are definitely more valuable than others in this game. So I wanted to share that. I also want to share just what I've learned in terms of like maximizing your opportunities, and then what buildings etc. are working out best for me. So first all first off, to get you caught up on where we're at, a lot of people are coming into this game thinking that this is like Civilization. You know, you find your city and it has a certain radius around it. Moscow here has an outline that zigzags a bit, and you can see it's mostly filled in. Oh, excuse me. And then this Ingushetia has a more east-west, like it's a flatter city. And then New Kaliningrad has a flatter part, and then I have Ufa along the top and Dagestan on the bottom. I have Basom Frio over here, and then I also found Onomatopoeia over here. So the cities, and then Saint Malo. So you can see like the cities tend to go in whatever direction you'd like to go. There is a limit. Like once you go so far in a certain direction, it'll let you keep going, but it'll be more expensive, and it's just not worth the price. So, but it's every city can take up a lot of real estate. So lesson number one: understand that you need a lot of land for your cities. In fact, I'm running out of room on some of these. Um, Moscow is one that I'm a little bit concerned about. Uh, Ufa is the one I'm most at danger because it looks like I could take these ones down here, and I think I can. But that's all they got left. They really, I think they maybe can go to the right one more space. I don't think they can go up here. Um, anyways, that's number one. Number two, user interface. I have learned that there's some tools that will help a bit more than others. First of all, when you hover over like this gives you all your resources I wish it gave you like a net, like it highlighted those, but what you're looking for here, so like in this case with cattle, I'm getting 6.7 in, I'm spending 3. So it's always in versus out, debits versus credits. This is an accounting spreadsheet. So I am making more than I'm spending. So that's what you want. You want positive results. And yes, I have 634 surplus, which is way so I don't know if I would ever spend them all, but um and here you can see with coal, I'm making zero point 0.9. I'm spending 0. I probably will need a lot more. With copper, I am barely making more than I'm spending. And that's intentional. I don't want to let myself spend more than I'm making. And you can keep going. You can see food. So we're talking, okay, what resources do you really need in this game? This is a great way to look at it. So just look at what am I spending? Well, I'm spending 8 dye. So out of all the resources you would think between bison and cattle and all this stuff, I'm spending more dye than any of that combined. And it's true. The dye is very important. I highly recommend that you go for dye. Now, what's dye used for? It's used to craft all these items. The biggest being I am spending a lot on windows and newspapers and things of that nature. So the dye is a really nice item. And if you recall, when you're manufacturing something, you can give it a supply, like you give it goods, like spend goods to make the manufacture quicker. So if I'm making, let's say, steel, I'm making 1 a turn. But if I'm willing to put iron in, I can maybe make 2 a turn, right? Um, but it also has, well, maybe you could also put in, $5, because sometimes you could just use money to overcome things. Well, the $5 is only going to make it go to 1.5 a turn, because the $5 is only going to improve it by 50%, whereas the other one improves it by 100%. So all I'm trying to say is that the dye, in the situations where it's used, really boosts the output quite nicely. And so, anyways, dye. Um, the next one is fish. The reason you need a lot of fish, and some of you might argue 9 fish is not a lot, but I'm spending 7 of them. And the reason I'm spending 7 is they are used by my cities as food sources. Because every time a city grows, it's basically consuming, I don't know if it's double, but it feels like it. They're consuming a magnanimous amount more food every time it grows. And so the fish is one of the ways. I happen to have 9 cities here, and I'm sending fish to 7 of them. That's really what this means. I'm feeding 7 of my cities with fish. All right. Overall food. Every city just needs food to grow. If you have a deficit of food, like you see here with Ingushetia, we're 88 short. Actually, let's look at that one. We're 88 short. That city is shrinking. It's not growing. I have plenty of food here, so the city's not going to starve, but it's also, we're never going to go to 25. I have, as an example, the fish is going right there. Well, actually, the fish is going to a butcher shop who's turning it into salted fish, and then the city's consuming the salted fish. But so I have to figure out, how am I going to get 88 more food? Well, one of the things you're catching me in the middle of doing is I'm upgrading the irrigated farm to a industrial farm, and that's, I'm going to speed this up so we can see what that looks like. But when that happens, this 88 is going to shrink by quite a bit, because we're going to go to an industrial farm. You can see that industrial farm is making 68. That irrigated farm is only making 44. That one's also making 68, so it'll be interesting to see what it does. Anyways, food is so important. All right, so then we have it's critical. And one of the things we're going to talk about is, like, how can I use food to make it better? How can I optimize my food is what I'm trying to say. All right, moving on. We do need grain. I'm making way more grain than I'm using. Um, I would like to spend more grain. I just don't have a lot of choices there. Same with the grapes. The grapes are only used to make wine. You would think they would at least feed people or something, but they really don't. I am right now consuming more furs than I'm making. There's a YouTube video out there that tells you how furs are really important. I don't agree with that at all. They also tell you that horses are important. I don't agree with that at all. If I had a lot more wars going on, then maybe the that would be important, but I don't really agree. Heavy metals, I would like more than just 1.7. Here, incense, I've not even found a use for. Same with the mandrake. The natural gas is, I'm just starting to get natural gas and oil. We're going to start spending these, but I'm just starting to get the wells out. So this is going to change. The materials, the metal materials, crucial. Same with the wood when we get to that. Precious metal, precious stones, the rice grain. Look at that disparity. We just have so much. I don't know what to do. Nothing to spend it on. Same with the sculpting material. Same discrepancy. Spices are very crucial. I am spending a lot on spices. Largely because we make a lot of food stuff. And then here you can see the timber. And then the wool is again not, in high demand. Alright, so that's just that. And then we go over here to the goods that you make. So barrels are extremely important. I actually have 2 factories working on those. The baskets I stopped making. I'm losing 0.1 right now. I have 60 of them. It'll last me a long time. Beer. Cities are using beer. The belts are an item you can use to make something else. And apparently I'm not using them at the moment. The books, don't let this deceive you. We need lots of books. I'm only burning this many per turn, but books are used heavily as a one-time cost. So you're going to spend like 5 books on one building, but it's just you spend the 5 and then you're done. It's not per turn. The bread here, you can see I'm not making. So I have a whole bunch of extra grain, so I can make another bread factory. Another bakery, if you will, so I can make more bread to get this back in thing. The brewed coffee. Coffee is used to give you research points, I guess, because it keeps the scientists awake. It is an input into other things. It's not something that you spend every turn. It's something you spend. I have 10 of them. I could build a building that consumes 2 of them, one-time costs. Candles work the same way. Carriages are something a city can consume. I am starting to build some clocks. I guess I stopped. I'll have to fix that. The coins are used quite a lot. I do wish I made more coins than this. But right now, only your mint makes coins, and you can only make 1. Concrete. I never have enough concrete. It's a one-time cost most of the time. This is something your cities can consume. You need pigs to get that. These dried food goods, monasteries and mills make those. We probably need more. Explosives I'm just now starting to make. Fertilizer, something you need a lot of. Festivals are used for cities. Need tons of those. Same with the fine clothes. Gears. You need a lot of these as one-time things. I have 60 of them. 68 of them. I stopped making them because I think 68 might be enough to live off of for a while, but I may go back if I have to. Glass is important to make. The glass windows, not as much. The gourmet meals, you can see I'm spending every one I get. These grain stores are good. Again, I can spend my grain to get more of these. Heavy plows, very important. I'm at 31 right now. Gunpowder I'm just starting to make, and you can see I'm spending 1 to make explosives. Industrial tools I just started to make. I'm at 6. I need a whole bunch more. I'm starting to make industrial internal combustion engines. Leather, I'm spending a bit. The letter of credit is used by cities. Same with liquor. This is an ancient tool we don't need to use anymore. I'm starting, I think, to make machine parts. I guess I stopped. I have to look into that. Metal ingots, I can't stress enough. You need as many of these as you can get. But the reason you need them is you're using them to make steel later. Medicine, I'm just starting to make. Metal tools, you don't have enough of them. In fact, the fact that I have 9, I'm hurting right now. I need more. These are, again, one-time costs. A lot of the buildings in this game, in order to upgrade from a forge of something, or I'm sorry, a workshop or a crafting house to a factory, you need to have 10 metal tools to do the upgrade. So I have like 10 of these buildings, but then you need 100 metal tools. Newspapers are consumed by cities. Paper is an important resource. I'm starting to use pastries. There's the salted fish for the cities. Stained glass. We're making some. They're used a lot for the triumphs. I haven't needed them for any of my buildings, but I need them for building triumphs. Here you can see I'm cranking up my steel. Telescopes, very important. They're good for your research, boosting, and then of course you can see some wine. All right, so and then there's our research. I don't know what the minus 24 means, but anyways, long story short, with all this, is some of the resources are more important than others. But the key thing that every city needs to do is you have to pay attention to this part right here. So see how there's 4 food? That's the most a city will produce. Or, well, let's get our terminology down. This is a city. The city is made up of regions, and in the region, each region has sectors in it. Each of these are a sector. Okay? So we're going to take this region here. That's the capital region. Now that region we needed to use for habitats, because the habitat specifically says you get 4 city housing, but you get plus 2 bonus if you're in the city center. Now this is a residence, so I've upgraded the habitat since. The habitat has different numbers. It's 5 total, and now it's 6 total. So by upgrading it to here, that gave us 1 more room. And then there's yet another one for skyscraper. So eventually it'll be 7 total. So very important that you build those in your city center, because that's the best boost to your population. And you can see here I'm at 23 out of 24 doing that. So I'm almost out of room. Okay, next up is this region here. So see how that has 4 food? This is a farm that makes 4 food. And you can see 200% of region food yield. So what that means is the regional yield is 4 food, like we pointed out. So this is making 200%, so this farm is making 8 food base. It's adding to the city growth. It's doing 200% harvest production. So that means that 8 food now turns into 16 food. And then it's getting a 5 bonus for each farm improvement that's also in the region. So we have 2 other farm improvements in the region. So we have 3 total. Okay, and then we have a granary in there that boosts the harvest production of all farms within the region. That's part of the reason why you saw the 200% boost. Okay, and then we have a well, which also gives a 100% harvest production to farms. So this is how you get that 200% boost. So this farm is producing 80 food. right now. And what's interesting is it should be upgrading. See, we're short on tools. We need 10 metal tools. But right now, it's producing 80, and if I were to upgrade this to an industrial farm, it turns into 300%. And remember, we still get the 200% from the other things, so now we're at 500%, so that 80 should be in the hundreds by the time we're done. And then here you can see a crafting guild is being upgraded. So this crafting guild is working on making heavy plows, and then with steel and concrete. So this is something that you have to spend. It doesn't show up in the in versus out. This is things where you're just spending one-time costs, but then I'll be able to upgrade to a factory, which has negative modifiers, but gives you big boosts to your production. And then last but not least, we have this, which I gave up on the game of, we used to like look at all the different buildings. I now scroll down and look here on where I want to add one, like if I want to go there or there. And you can see I'm not boosting my dye production at all. I had plenty to use. This is the combustion engine. So, you know, where do I need the boost? I don't know. I mean, you could argue, like this one here gives me 10 city build production. So I'm going to click on that. That actually sounds fantastic. And then I got all these farms I built, which would also benefit from a boost. And here you can see I'm making some light bulbs. I don't know if I made any yet, but the light bulb, what it's going to be good for is right here. One of these. This one. We have a candle, and then a light bulb would give us 3 city knowledge. So, from a technology perspective, we're in the third era, and I'm at the point now where I'm just researching everything before I move to the next. I don't feel like skipping near the end is worth it, and you can see I've been doing that for a while here. I did skip one from time to time. Here I skipped 4 of them. But see, they were all military units. And I was like, you know what? In a wonder. So I was like, I'm going to skip all that. And then we went to the next one, and I just skipped again. That's a wonder. I don't have room to build all these wonders. How's the wars been? Well, the Celts have not declared war on me, and that was unexpected. Their relationship with me has been decent. Palmyra has been declaring war on me left and right. So, no good there. And then who is this? The Crow Nation. They've been very friendly. The Holy Roman Empire is the one that shocked me. They used to be bigger. They were here, and they were also here, and now they're not in either. They shrunk to 4 cities, and I don't know why. Like, I don't know what event caused that to happen, but they did. They shrunk to 4 cities, and maybe it was some kind of war I wasn't paying attention to, but that's what allowed me to settle here. We are literally settling over top of an old city from the Holy Roman Empire. Poland is still doing well, and you can see here from the standings, I'm sitting at 18,000 points, and the next closest person is at 8,000. I'm commanding a 10,000 point lead. I'm killing it. So the normal difficulty, once you figure out the mechanics of the game, you should be able to blow the AI out of the market. And right now, Boudica and Zenobia are the 2 that would drop. But I am in the Machine Age, and only 1 is in the Renaissance, and 1 is still in High Medieval. We need 3 people to make it to the Machine Age before these 2 drop off. So I think it's going to be a while. In fact, I'm in the Machine. Oh my gosh, One's in the Renaissance. They're not even at Enlightenment. And then one's in High Medieval. So they're here and here, these two. So I gotta wait for them to finish all of this, and then finish all of this, and get to here before those two drop. So it's gonna be a while, and by the time that happens, I'm probably gonna be moving on to the Atomic or the Information Age. And so yes, I'm winning the game. It's becoming pretty easy. But from my perspective, I'm still having fun because I'm figuring it out. Um, Another UI thing to take advantage of is this. First off, if there's any inactive factories or guilds or whatever, it tells you here. But the other big thing is you can click on everything you have. So like I want to see all my crafting guilds. And I can see, okay, I'm making an engine, I'm making a plow, I'm making an industrial whatever, there's another industrial whatever, and a barrel. And then you can be like, okay, well, I thought I was making a clock. So I could go and change one of these to a clock if I wanted to. Or realize I got to go build something else. But understand that these are upgrading to factories. So I got to look at my factories as well. I'm making the metal tools, the light bulbs, telescopes, another barrel, and another plow. So I'm actually making two sets of plows. And that actually is my issue. Remember I was telling you I thought I was making clocks? I'm making two sets of plows. So I'm going to go in and change this one to stop making the plows and move it to clocks. And I'm not making gears anymore. So I'll spend 10 bucks. I don't know if I don't want to spend steel. Ooh. I'll spend the 5 timber though. There we go. So now we're making 1 clock a turn. So there you go. That was a perfect use of this tool. Chemist. Okay, I'm making antibiotics. I'm making fertilizer and medicine, antibiotics again, and explosives. The armory is making 2 gunpowder. You know, my coffee houses. I got 2 things making coffee. My foundries. This one's making steel. My forges. I got a steel and a metal. And so forth. My windmills, 3 of them are making paper. And I could change the paper to the dried food goods, which I actually do need more of. And I am considering that. See, this is why I wish I had more coins, right? And I definitely don't have enough of either of these. But right there, I can spend a die to make more paper. So what I'll likely do is I'll likely just make another windmill. Anyways, that's all I wanted to show for now. And if there's any questions or anything about, you know, what else you would like to see, I can do this and I can sit down and try to do like a formal full playthrough without skipping through chunks. I don't know. I get a little weird about playing a you know, a 40-hour game. Like, how much do you really want to see the play-by-play on that? But you know, I did 18OE twice, and those were, you know, what, 13 to 20 hours each. So I guess I am crazy like that. But that's it for now. I actually have some things to do tonight. So thanks for watching. As always, stay awesome.